place is closed down. You might wanna get up now and walk away. Please.
Hey, welcome to the AGK studio, where it all began. Well, not exactly, but it's the same building from back when you first worked for us, only a little more dusty and run down. Anyways, I'll be your guide throughout the week in our new attempt at the AGK Funland from 1998, or should I say, new AGK studio, if we can call it that at this point. By now, you should know the drill. We have equipped a radio panel for you to look around the place. For now, there isn't a whole lot to watch, but we are in the middle of ending a vent to the right of your office, and we may have found a vintage animatronic. So I'll keep you updated on how that goes. Have a good night, Raven. Hey dude, I told you everything would be fine. Okay, so we were able to transport the animatronic I told you about yesterday into the studio. It looks and smells really nasty, but it's really cool. After shocking it a few times, it seemed to turn on, wandering the building endlessly. It's kind of scary, but it doesn't seem all that aggressive. But if you feel threatened, you can always use the hydraulic doors. Also, we've had a few issues with the boiler lately. So we've installed a vent to your right to remove any excess toxic. On top of the already present vent seals, they should shut if there's any leaks. One last thing. Recently, me and a few other employees noticed a few odd activities around the building. Someone told me the cameras were acting weird. My buddy Dave told me that while he was checking out one of the vents near the exit. He heard that music coming from behind him, and when he turned around to see what it was with his flashlight, the figure disappeared after a bit. It seemed the light made it leave? I'm unsure. But I also did notice something odd. I saw a shadow figure on the corner of my eyes. I got scared and quickly looked away, but when I looked back, it was gone! It's surely freaky stuff, but I don't got time to really investigate all these weird occurrences. Good night, Raven. Dude, I completely forgot to tell you yesterday. The animatronic we found that has been roaming around seemed to weirdly hate the boiler, and we've noticed it try damaging it. To prevent that, we've added the feature on the cams that you probably noticed by now called Release Toxic Steam. If you hold it long enough, it'll make him leave, but you're gonna have to get rid of that toxic at one point. Additionally, I should have probably told you that using the toxin remover makes so much noise that if they were entered the right vent, they would leave. Their system seems to be pretty old and sensitive, so yeah. Recently, I've started hearing weird noises around the building, but every time I got close to the source and looked at it, it vanished. The creature seemed all broken and stuff. It's pretty unsettling. They've also reported that a figure seems to snarl him if he stays with any of the panels open for too long. I'm not sure what he means by that, but he told me it's left as soon as he put the panel down. The toxic fumes really seem to mess with our heads. Hope by the end of the week I can fix the boiler. Good night. Hi, this place is really starting to creep me out, man. Yesterday I saw two humans with big grins stare at me. One was a boy, and I saw him in the boiler. I released some toxic steam, and it left, but it made me really uncomfortable. The other one I saw was strange, really strange. After pulling down my radio panel, I noticed the Leopold stand was replaced by a corpse. I panicked and lifted the radio panel up and noticed a girl grinning in camera 1. I looked at her and she disappeared. Later during the day, the same corpse appeared in the box, so I opened the radio panel again and noticed that this time, it was in camera 9. I'm starting to really think that these figures are actually real, and it scares me. On another news, I was able to find abandoned tapes that seem to be related to the old locations prior to the AGK studio. It talked about spring locks and stuff. I'm not too sure what it all means, but I'll continue listening to them. Good night, Raven. Hey, Raven. I don't have much to say today. The panel has been acting weird, but besides that, nothing too different from my constant toxic fumes issue. I finished listening to all the tapes and I really wanted to show you two of them.
News reports that the AGK studio has suffered from a woman who's been around calling a massive crush around the studio. There's a lot of reports and blood around the... She seems completely...
This one is so odd, I can't even describe how I feel. The rest of the tape is corrupted, but the next one isn't.
It has been a few days since the crush, and I have to admit, the studio is not a good place to hide anymore. 3 of our employees are dead, and I am positive that my career is now over because of this. I still have a spare golden Leopold, but things are not working out right now. Despite all the animatronics being in a broken state, I will buy them, and if they finally catch her, I will make sure she gets torn apart in the oatmeal suits and suffer for the rest of her restless life.
I guess that explains what this living electronics is, a cold killer trapped in a spring lock suit, created during the days crediting the studio days. I won't be calling you tomorrow. Taking a day off. Good luck.